Hello everyone, I'm Frank, and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's very hard puzzle, and it's called Copycat Fun by Skojo. And here are the rules. We have normal Sudoku rules apply, which means place the digits 1 through 9 once each in every row, column, and 3 by 3 box. Poppy, the cat, is playing hide and seek with his brother, Leon. Leon has already run around the house and found a hiding place in the center of the house, row 5, column 5. So this is Leon and this is Poppy. Poppy, starting from the northwest corner of the house, row 1, column 1, must now copy the path and track Leon to his hiding place. Poppy's path must not visit any cell more than once, cross itself, or pass through any golden walls or gold walls. As well as moving orthogonally, Poppy may move diagonally if there is a 2 by 2 space in which to do so, but may never pass diagonally through the sharp corner of a wall. So, Poppy has to move basically horizontally and vertically unless there's a 2 by 2 area where he can go diagonally there. He cannot go diagonally like this, right? So you could not go diagonally like this because you have the yellow wall in the way. But he could go diagonally like this. So Poppy has to follow Leon's path, and he must go horizontally, vertically, and he cannot cross his path. And he cannot visit any cell more than once or pass through gold walls. We have Kropke, where if two cells are separated by a black dot, the value of one is double the value of the other. If two cells are separated by a white dot, their values are consecutive. So for example, say this was a 2, then this would have to be 1 or 4 to make sure that those digits are in a 1 to 2 ratio. If this was, say, 6, well, this would have to be 3 to be in a 1 to 2 ratio with that digit, and this would have to be 5 or 7 to make sure that these digits are consecutive. And those are examples of how Kropke dots work. And finally, we have the path constraint, where any cell Poppy visits acts as a copycat cell. Oh boy. The value of a copycat cell is the digit in the cell rotationally opposite itself in the grid, which is 180-degree rotation about the center of the grid. For example, if row 2, column 3 is a copycat cell containing the digit 5, and row 8, column 7 contains the digit 9, the value of row 2, column 3 is the digit in row 8, column 7, which is 9, right? So then rotationally, you rotate it, basically the grid 180 degrees. And the digit that's on that where this cell would be, 100, if you rotate the grid 180 degrees, is the value of the copycat cell. Oh, okay. So that's okay. So right, that's he does say values. So the values, okay, yeah. So again, crop key is basically just value. So keep that in mind. Uh, um, that is interesting. Those are all the rules too. Yeah, I'm trying to get my mind across about how this works then. So every cell that Poppy passes through or visits is a copycat cell, where it copies the value, or it copies the digit, not the value. It copies the digit that's 180 degrees opposite of it, rotationally. Okay. And those are all the rules. If you like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay. So the interesting thing is Poppy has to take either this route or this route. Well, this one is definitely here. So this is the value of whatever digit is here. Poppy has to come in through this cell. So this cell is also on the path. So those are both copycat cells, but can only take one path out, right? You can't go here and then go back in because then you would recross its own. Basically, you would go through a cell more than once, which is not allowed. And so it must go either that way or this way, and it cannot go through the other way then. Interesting. Okay. That means if it goes this way, these digits are in specifically a 1 to 2 ratio. If it goes this way, that means these digits are consecutive. Doesn't that mean this? So the question is, say Poppy never enters here, right? So Poppy has to either enter here all of these cells or enter none of them. If Poppy doesn't enter any, right, because it enters and exits this way. So if Poppy doesn't enter here, then these are the correct values, right? So then these would be in a 1 to 2 ratio, and these would have to be consecutive. But we know Poppy goes either this way or this way in box 1. So that means they have to be copycat cells. So if these are copycat cells, that means these would be consecutive, right? And that's not going to be in a 1 to 2 ratio. So therefore, these all must be copycat cells also, right? If they're not copycat cells, then there's no way that this can make. So like if Poppy goes this way, then these are all copycat cells, and they would have to be consecutive as digits. Well, if they're consecutive as digits, there's no way they're in a 1 to 2 ratio with each other completely, right? You could have 1 and 2, but you couldn't have 2 and 4 be consecutive, right? Or if Poppy goes this way, these would then be all in a 1 to 2 ratio. But again, if the Poppy doesn't go through any of these cells, and they're not copycat cells, they would have to be specifically in 1 to 2 ratio, but also consecutive, and that can't fit. So Poppy has to go through all of these cells. Otherwise, it just wouldn't make sense with either way that Poppy goes as a copycat cells. Because it has, she, I don't know, it, Poppy has to go through one of these paths, guaranteed. So because of that, we know this is all copycat cells. So that means these 3 digits are in a 1 to 2 ratio, and these digits here must be consecutive. Well, if we have copycat cells go this way, it's possible, right? Because if Poppy goes that way, that means these digits here are in a 1 to 2 ratio. And then these would be consecutive. Okay. So that is potentially possible. Um If Poppy goes this way, that means these digits are all consecutive. And then these two must be consecutive with... Okay, either way, we know... Okay, so we know these digits are in a 1-to-2 ratio guaranteed for... Sorry, these digits are 1-to-2 ratio because these are copycat, and values must match that. So this is 2 or 4. And it must be 1, 2, 4, or 8 here. 1, 2, 4, or 8 here. And we're guaranteed 2 and 4 have to be in this set. So there's no way that this can be non-copycat cells this way. If we try to go copycat cells this way, or sorry, if we try to go copycat cells this way, the problem is that you would have 1, 2, and 4, 2 and 4 guaranteed here. So this couldn't be 8 and then 4 and 2, or can it be 4, 2, and 8, right? We're guaranteed this is 2 and 4 here. Even if we tried 4, 2, 1, that would be in 1 and 2 ratio there. So these have to be the copycat this way, which means she cannot go here at least. So that's not possible and must go this way. Okay. So the values of these means these have to be in a 1-to-2 ratio. And these are consecutive here. And again, we cannot have 2 and 4 here. So this cannot be 1, right? Because it must be consecutive and it must be in a 1-to-2 ratio with this digit here, right? So this is basically corresponding. So if we map out these things, these would both be essentially... We can envision this as 2 black dots here, and these are 2 white dots here. So what are the possibilities here that we can have? We know these digits must be consecutive. Because... No, sorry. This cell must be consecutive with the value of this cell. Oh, okay. Again, these have to be in a 1-to-2 ratio. So let's look at the possibilities. We could have 1, 2, 4. And then 5 and 6 here, because these must be consecutive, right? It cannot go down to 4, 3, because then that would be blocked by 2. We could have 2, 4, 8. And then this would have to be 7, 6. Because it can't go up to 9 and then go down to whatever cell. So we're matching essentially this right now. You cannot go 4, 2, 1. Because then this would have to be 2. So that doesn't work. You could go 8, 4, 2. You can't go 8, 4, 2. So it's 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8 here. So, and then this is 5, 7, and this is guaranteed to be a 6. Okay. That means this digit here is consecutive with 2 or 4. So it's 1, 3, or 5 here. We don't have any other information because these are just copycat cells of these. We don't have any information here either. Okay, so we know Poppy goes this way. We know Poppy goes this way. Okay. This is in a 1-to-2 ratio, and it cannot have a 6 in it. It cannot have 2 or 4 in it. But one of these has to be a copycat cell. It could be both, but we know at least one of them is a copycat cell. Um, so to exit, we have to get through one of these, at least. Could be both of them. What about this? That seems okay. Um, this could be both blue here, and that would be 1, 2. So it doesn't not have to go through this way. It does have to go through this because we can't have 3, 6 as a 1, 2 pair. Or 1, 2, 2, 4, or 4, 8. We're guaranteed this is one of these is 2. One of these is 4. So one at least of these is a copycat cell. We don't know if both are. If both are, they would match this. Okay, so say we had, so this can also only go one way through, all the way. So if this were a copycat cell, I don't think it works. It must match these two cells. Yes. So if these are copycat cells, so either all of these are copycat cells or none of these are. If they were a copycat cell, they would copy these 2 digits and be in a 1 to 2 ratio, but without 2, 4, or 6 available, which is not possible then. So this cannot be copycat cells, which means it does not go through this section. So this must be a 1 to 2 ratio, but we don't know which. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8 are all possibilities. So this matches with that. This matches with that. This we don't care what the value is, so it's not that important. This has to go either this way around or this way around. That doesn't help us much. What about maybe here? I mean, possibly. So for this, either all 3 of these are in a 1 to 2 ratio, which would make that 2, 4, or they have to be copycat cells, which means correspondingly that would have to be in a 1 to 2 ratio. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Where else can we go with this? So what other interesting aspects do we have? This is interesting. So either way, in column 5, there's got to be, well, that's not true. We could just go pass through, right? Obviously, the path must go through one of these 2. If not both. We could go through all 3 of these, right? To enter here. The only thing relationship we have is this one or this one. Ah, but it cannot go through the other. That's interesting. So, okay. That means if it goes this way, this is in a 1 to 2 ratio with that digit. If it goes this way, that means this is in a 1 to 2 ratio with that digit. So this must be in a 1 to 2 ratio with one of these. We're not sure which. Hmm. What happens? What happens if neither of these are copycat? It's actually it's impossible. You can't have neither of them be non-copycat. There has to be a copycat somewhere in one of these 6 cells, and probably more, right? Because it has to cross this path to get through to where Leon is. But it doesn't. It could just go. It could be like a drive-by. It could go through once, right? Huh. We know this is in a 1 to 2 ratio with one of these digits. We're not sure which. It also must be consecutive with either this digit or this digit. So this can never be 1. Okay. That's not too helpful. So this part is interesting. So say this doesn't connect to this path. That means it would have to connect to this path here somewhere, right? Yeah. And it could go all the way around here, which is possible. All right. So if it doesn't connect this way, it has to go through this path here. But this could still connect to all of these, right? We don't have any information about that, so that doesn't help. Going through that way versus whatever. If it does connect, I guess this could do some weird thing like going around here, right? And then going through here. That is possible too. Okay, so that's not helpful. What else do we have? Oh, oh, this has to be in a 1 to 2 ratio here. And there must be all consecutive 1 to 2 ratio. So this has to be 1. So this is 1. It's in a 1 to 2 ratio with 2 because it can't be 3. Couldn't be 5 because 5 is never in a 1 to 2 ratio with any digit. If you have 5, you get 2.5. If you double 5, you get 10. 3 doesn't work because that would be 3, 6, and then what, 12? 3? That obviously doesn't work. So this must be 1, 2, and 4 in a 1 to 2 ratio to match that because these are all copycat cells. So this cannot be 1, 2, or 4. It must be a 3, 6 pair here. Interesting. 1 is consecutive, so that value of that cell is 1. So that makes this a value. This has to be a 2, which makes this 1. That's interesting. So this is 2 and 1. And so it could be non-copycat. In fact, it has to be non-copycat. If it is copycat here, the problem is that it would have to match this cell, and it would have to be consecutive with 2, which would be 1 or 3 in value, but it cannot be. So this cannot be copycat, so it cannot go that way. So this has to go through this cell here. Okay. Then if it goes this way, if this connects to here, this has to go this way. Otherwise, I obviously could go down and then connect to here, and then this could go all the way around and connect to here. So that's fine. This has to go through one of these. It could be that one. So this is 1, 2. This has to be 4. To match the 1 to 2 ratio. So this is 4. This is 5. Remaining digits in box 1 are 3, 7, 8, 9. These 2 digits have to be a 1 to 2 ratio in value. Obviously, one of them. So the problem is these both cannot be copycat. If they were copycat, then if both of them were copycat, this has to be in a 1 to 2 ratio, and it can't be because this is a 3, 6 pair already. And 3 or 6 is not in a 1 to 2 ratio with any other digits besides 3 and 6. So only one of them can be copycatted. And we need that to be in a 1 to 2 ratio with the remaining digits in box 1. Well, it could have been 8, but this can't be 4. So it can't be in a 1 to 2 ratio with that. And it can't be 7 or 9 in a 1 to 2 ratio with any other digit. So this must be 3 and something. 3 then has to be in a 1 to 2 ratio with 6 in value. So therefore, it must match this. So this must be the copycat, which makes this the copycat here. So Poppy has to go this way, essentially. So this is not copycat here, and is 3. That means none of these are 3. So 3 would be in a 1 to 2 ratio with 6. So this is 6 and 3 there. Remaining digits in box 9 are 5, 7, 8, 9. Okay. This is 5, 7, 8, or 9. Obviously, could be a copycat. Either, okay, so to be in a 1 to 2 ratio, if it's not copycat, it has to be 8. If it is copycat, it has to be 8. So either way, this value is an 8, which forces this value to be a 4 in value. And this must be a 7 or 9 in value. But one of them is definitely a copycat. Okay. Remaining digits in row 1 are 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. These are never going to be in a 1... Well, it could be 1, 2. Never mind. Could be 1, 2. This can't be 1. This can't be 2. This can't be 3. Because of 1, 2, and 3 in the columns. Where else can we go? So if this is not copycat here, well, the thing is, it could be this is copycat and this isn't. Remaining digits in... Oh, that's interesting. Remaining digits in row 9. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these two must match this. So if this was the only copycat, so either if they're not copycat, this has to be 1, 2 specifically. If this is copycat, so it's possible that neither are copycats. This is not copycat, but this is, or they're both copycats. If they're both copycats, okay, so this can't be 5 or 3 because of 3 or 5 in the column. No 6 here because of 6 in the column. Also, we have the remaining digits of column 1 are 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So then we have to match it with this potentially. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Okay, remaining digits in... Remaining digits in column 2 are 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Remaining digits in row 8 are 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. And this can't be 6 because of 6 in the row. This can't be 3 or 6 because of 3 or 6 in the row. Interesting. So, if this were Copycat, it would have to be Copycat through all of these, right? So then those two values would have to be matching this. But this cannot be in a 1-to-2 ratio, which that requires, right? Because we can't have 3 or 6 that way. And that's the only way you can have a 1-to-2 ratio in the remaining digits in column 1. So this cannot be Copycat here. Which means, I mean, this could still be Copycat. You can't have 1 or 3 here. This is 2, 4, 6, or 8. Huh. And this could still be Copycat, so that's fine. Hmm. What about if we try row 2? Huh. Consecutive 1 is not as interesting to do. The the black Kropke dot is more limiting for the most part. If this is not Copycat, it has to be 8 here and 4 here. Right. And if this is not Copycat, then it has to go that way, which means that's Copycat, and that's 4. Right? So if this goes that way, that means this has to go that way, and none of these are Copycat. Oh, that's interesting. How would that work? So if this goes this way, so if it goes this way, it can't go back this way because then it would cross itself here, right? And could never get to this. Oh, I guess it could. I guess what we're saying is if this connects this way, right? If this goes straight there, then all of these are not Copycat. That's interesting. So what happens if that's the case? Then this would have to be 8 in a 1-to-2 ratio with 4, which would be in a 1-to-2 ratio with 3 or 5. This would have to be obviously 1, 2, 4, and 8 as possibilities. And this can't be 4, so this would be 1 or 2. 1 goes to 2 there. 2 goes to 4 there. Again, this is 2 or 4. So 2 has to be one of these two digits. So 1, 2, and 4 here would have to be there. Or it's 2, 4, and 8. Okay, these would be consecutive. So this would eliminate 4. So this could not be 4. This could not be 4. No 4 here. No 8 here. No 8 here. These are consecutive without an 8. So this is odd, which means this has to be even. So therefore, this would be 6. You'd have 5 or 7 there. This can't be 6. No 6 here. No 6 or 8 here. 2 has to be one of these two, so this can't be 2, this can't be 2, this can't be 2. No 6 either for those. No 2 here. This would be consecutive, so this cannot be 8 or 4. Okay, so far it's okay. Okay, so this is in a 1 to 2 ratio with that, so it cannot be 7 or 9. So we'd have 1, 4, 8 there. 1 would have to be with 2, 4 would be with 2 or 8, and then 8 would be with 4. So those are the possibilities there. Where would 3 be in box 7? It would have to be one of these two cells, which means this can't be 3. These are consecutive, so this can't be 1 here. These are consecutive. This can't be 3. Therefore, this would have to be 3 here, which means this could not be 3 here. This would be 9 guaranteed, which means 9 could not appear in the rest of that box. This couldn't be 6. These are consecutive. It would have to have an 8 here. So that eliminates 8 in the rest of the column. That means 5 and 6 would both have to be here. So 5 would have to be one of these two. This is 8, so this couldn't be 8 here. That would mean this is 4, 2, and 1. No 1 here. No 1 here. This can't be 4, so this is 2 or 8, which is in a 1 to 2 ratio with 4. So this is 4. So far, this is all looking kosher. This can't be 1. 4, 2, and 8. Yeah, this is looking... we have a 5, 7, 8, 9 quadruplet in row... So, right, we're assuming that it goes straight up this way. So it goes like this to connect. Or basically, it just doesn't go this way, right? It goes one of these paths. That means this is copying whatever is here, so this must be a 4. So that eliminates 4 here. This must go this way. So far, this is looking fine. We have a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is consecutive. That's interesting. So this cannot be 5 here. It could be 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 8, and cannot be 9 here. We have a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruplet, or quintuplet in box 4. This can't be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 2. That leaves us as a 1, 3 pair here. Okay. This is looking fine. This is 5, 7, 8, 9 quadruplet in row 7, so that eliminates 5, 7, 8, 9 in the rest of the row, so this is 3. It leaves remaining digits as 1 and 6. This can't be 1, and that's fine. This can't be 3. So then this must be a 1 to 2 ratio, and it has to be 2 and 1. That's interesting. So no 3 here, no 2 here, no 1 here. Okay, that means it would have to go through this part to be in a 1 to 2 ratio. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. This can't be 8. So it has to go through all 3 of these, at least. But we don't know which way. It can go that way, it could go this way. That satisfies all of it, actually. So the copycat's that. One of these is a 1. We're not sure which. That means to be consecutive, this must be a 3. So this can't be 3. This is 1, which makes this 3. This is still kosher. Huh. This is starting to look like it might be the solution path. Anyways, this has to have a value of 8. So this has to have a value of 7 or 9. Okay. This is not a value of 7 or 9, so it cannot be, it has to be 7, actual 7 or 9 here. Oh, that's interesting. Well, we don't know if that's a 3 or if it's not, right? If it is, like, if this is the way that it works, this has to be a 3. This matches that. It's a 4 in value. We have 3 guaranteed here, 1 guaranteed here. Remaining digits of column 5 are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 9, right? 1, 5, 6, 7, 9. Yeah. Obviously, that's not in a 1 to 2 ratio. It cannot go this way. It must go through here. So these are both copycat. So this is copycat, which makes that a 4. If this were copycat, that would force that to be a 2, 4. Okay, which is not possible. So this cannot be copycat. This is normal value. This is a value of 4. So it has to be consecutive with 3 or 5, and it can't be 3 because of 3 in the row. So this is 5, which eliminates 5 here. This is 2, 6, or 8. It's not going to be in a 1 to 2 ratio with whatever this digit is. So this is not copycat here. This is looking like the actual solution, but anyways. Remaining digits in row 3 are 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a value of 4, so this must be a 3 in value. It cannot be copycat. So this is not copycat either. Therefore, you cannot go copycat here, because if you had copycat, where does it go? It's blocked. So this is not copycat in any of these cells here either. So this must be 1 and 2. That's interesting. So that's 1 and 2 here, which eliminates 1 and 2 in the rest of the row. This can't be 2 here. This can't be 2 here. Where is the 2 in row 3? It would have to be here. So this is 2. Can these ever be in a 1 to 2 ratio if they're copycat? No. If this were copycat, it could. Well, not really. If both of these are copycat, they would match, they would have to be these digits, which is not in a 1 to 2 ratio with each other. If only one of them was, this would be 2 as that. But I don't think that works either. Right? 2 is only in a 1 to 2 ratio with 1 or 4, so that doesn't work. So this must be non-copycat and must be 3 and 6. This is actually looking like it is the solution, but I don't know. 3 and 6, which means this can't be 3 here. This is 3 or 4 here. This is not copycat, and this is value 4, so this must be a 3 itself, which means this can't be 3. That's 4 and 8. 4 would have to be consecutive with 3 or 5, which is not possible. So all of which is a convoluted way of showing that this is not, this has to have some copycat somewhere here. We don't know where. That was a long way to prove that. I don't like that. Anyways. Maybe there was a better way of showing that. Maybe there was a better path to go down before that. I don't know. Yeah. Huh. Or maybe that it was the correct solution and I made a mistake. Oh, that would be bad. Anyways. If this is 1 to 2 ratio. Yeah, maybe. Well, but the problem is, yeah, the issue here was basically, I don't know. What do we have to go through this path? What happens if we go through here without forcing, with making all of these? If we go this way, so the problem is it could still go all the way around here, right? We don't have any real information about where Poppy's path can go in this portion. We do know if this goes here and doesn't go there, that's a problem. But that was a very long, convoluted way of showing that was a problem. Maybe, yeah, I could have made a mistake there, so that's also possible. Anyways, let's check this. Okay, so these are all copycats. So this value is 1, this value is 2, which is in a 1 to 2 ratio with 1. This value is 4, which is a 1 to 2 ratio with 2. This value is 5, which is consecutive with 4. This value is 6, which is consecutive with 5. These digits, 1 and 2, are definitely one consecutive. 2 and the value here is 1, which is consecutive. 1 and 2 is in a 1 to 2 ratio. 2 and 4 is in a 1 to 2 ratio, which matches that. This we don't care about the value. This is value 6, which is in a 1 to 2 ratio with 3. This is a value of 8 no matter what, but we don't know which. Okay. This can either be value of 8 to be copycat, cannot be value of 1, cannot be value of 2. So if it's copycat, it's a value of 8. If it's not a copycat, it can't be 1 or 2. It could be 3, 4, or 6. So if this is value of 3, so it can't, if this is value 3, this is 6. This cannot be value of 6 because this can't be 3. So this is 3, 4, or 8 here. If this is at 8, this would be 4. Excuse me. this is value 3, 4, and 8, which means this must be value 2 or 4 if this is 3. 3 and 5 if this is 4, or 7 and 9 if that's 8. So if this is value 3, this is 6. If this is value 4, it could be 2 or 8. If it's value 8, that's 4. Okay. Could be copycat for any of those digits. Could be a 5. Oof. Remaining digits in column 7. Ugh. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Obviously no 2 here, no 1 here. Oh, that's interesting. Hmm. So we know this doesn't go here and then here. Sorry, it doesn't go here and then not go here. But it could just still go here, potentially, right? So it could connect this way, and that would be fine. And then this could go all the way around or whatever. Still connecting, going that way. That's possible. Huh. Hmm. Can all of these be copycats? I think the answer to that is no, right? Oh. Oh, interesting. We are guaranteed in box 7, 1, 2, and 4 have to be in 3 of these 4 cells. Huh. That's interesting. Huh. Mm, that's very interesting. 6 cannot be any of these. Three cannot be here or here. So 3 has to be one of these 4 cells there. Um, hmm. Remaining digits in row 3. We have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No 2 or 6 is possible there. Remaining digits in row in this box of 3 through 9. Remaining digits in this box 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Eh. We know this digit. Well, this could be a 5 here. Interesting. Boy. What else do we know? Can these both be copycat? No. Because, it could be 3 and 6. That does kind of work. So if these are both copycat, it's 3 and 6 here, which means these are not consecutive. So you would have to have copycat here. So these would have to be consecutive. It does open it up to the rest of the possibilities, though. It could be. It doesn't have to be 1, 2. Can one of these only be copycat? In that case, this would not be copycat. This would be, and I think the answer to that is no. So either these are both copycat or neither is copycat. If this is copycat, that means this must be 3 and 6, which is not consecutive. So then I guess it could just be one that's copycat here. That is possible. Um, hmm. Oh, this can't be copycat, so it cannot go through all of this. That's interesting. So if it doesn't, huh? So if this goes this way, that means this has to go connect to through here because it can't connect through this part. Interesting. So that means let's assume it doesn't go through. It doesn't go this way. So if it goes this way, we are guaranteed this cannot go through this portion here. So then all of these would be essentially non-copycat. Okay, so then this would be 1 and 2. This could not be 7 and 9 or 1 and 2. It'd have to be 3, 8 pair. 3 would be with 6 and 8 would be with 4. So no 3, 8, no 1, 2, no 2, 3, or 8 here. This is not 2, no 1, no 2. These would have to be consecutive. No 1 here. 3 would guaranteed have to be one of these two. And this couldn't... Okay, 3 would have to be one of these, which means it's consecutive with 4. So this would be... that's not possible. There we go. So this is the portion that we basically, we wanted to calculate the issues with. So it does have to go this way then. It cannot go this way, because if it goes that way, it fails. Huh. Interesting. But then that does mean it cannot... Right. So this is a contradiction here, right? 3 cannot be here, 3 can't be here, 3 can't be here, if these are all non-copycat. Interesting. So that means it has to go this way, which means this has to go either here or here to complete. Or here, right? Obviously. So this is all non-copycat. That's interesting. Guaranteed. Because it has to go this way. And then this way. Okay, so this is a 1 to 2 ratio. These are consecutive, and we have to have an even number in both of those consecutive. So it's 6 and 8 here. Which means these cannot both be copycat. So this can't be copycat here. These are consecutive. It cannot be 3. These are in a 1 to 2 ratio. So again, I guess it could be, it can't be 8 in between, can't be 1 in between those two. So this is 1, 2, 4. 2, 4, 8, 1 is possible here. That eliminates 2 and 4 in the rest of the box. This can't be 8, because if this were 8, then we would not have 2 consecutive digits. One, because we need 2 evens here. And if it's 2, 4, 8, you would only have 1 even in that box. So this can't be even. No 6 or 8. This can't be even. This can't be 1. So this is 5, 7, 9 here. Which means this has to be a 3 here. So this is 3, which eliminates 3 in the rest of the column and row. So no 3 here, because 3 is not consecutive with any of these digits left. This is 2 next to 1 and 4. So no 2 here, no 2 here. These can't be 2 because of 2 in the column. This has to go through here to connect. So this is 1 or 4. 1. Huh. These cannot all be copycats. Because if both of these were copycats, then whatever digit here is not going to be consecutive with both of them. So if this were copycat, this would also have to be copycat. So this cannot be copycat. It must be consecutive. And that means this digit is not consecutive with 1. So this has to be 4. So this is 4. This is 1. No 1 here. This cannot be 4. So this has to be, well, we already knew this is copycat, period. It could go like that, or it could go straight. So that's copycat, which means this must be a 4 here. There's no 4 available in the rest of the row. This has to be 5 to be consecutive with 4 in value. So this is 5, which eliminates 5 in the rest of the row. And the box. So no 5 here. So this cannot be a 5 in value. This is either a 1 in value if this is a copycat, which cannot be consecutive with 2 in value. So this can't be 1. This cannot be copycat. So this is not copycat, which means none of these are copycat, because so therefore this must be 1 and 2. So this is 1 and 2, which eliminates 1 and 2 here. That means this can't be 2, this can't be 1, this can't be 2. 5 is consecutive with 4. And this must be copycat then. Because 6, 7, 8, 9 is not consecutive with 4. So this is copycat also. And to get there, it cannot cross itself. So how are you going to go through here? Well, you can't go here and then go, I guess, well, you could do something like that. That is possible. And it could go like that. Okay, so we don't know which direction that goes. So this has to be consecutive with 4. So this is 5, which means we don't have a 5 available anywhere in the box. This is 7, 8, 9 as a triplet, which forces this to be 1, 2, 3 as a triplet. These are in a 1 to 2 ratio. So this can't be 1. It's 2 or 3 with 4 or 6 here. We are guaranteed this can't be 1 or 5 here. This can't be 5 here. So we have to have 2 and 4 here somewhere. This 4 eliminates 4 in the column. This value obviously can't be 2 anymore. It's 3, 4, 7, or 9. So this can't be an 8 here. This can't be 2. So 6 and 8 would force this to be 3 or 4 in value. And so it has to be 3 or 4, period. Because it's not copycat. And 3 or 4 is only consecutive with 3 or 4. So this is a 3, 4 pair here. We got 3, 4 pair here, which eliminates 3 and 4 in the rest of the box and the rest of the row. Obviously, this can't be 4 here. So one of these has to be copycat, at least. And if one of them's copycat, it has to be at least this one. So if this is so one of these has to be a copycat, right? Because 8 cannot be the normal value here. We're guaranteed a 3 there. 8 cannot be a normal value here. They both could be copycats, potentially, going something like that. But we do know that of the values, if we did only have one copycat, it cannot just be this one, right? If we try to get copycat there without connecting to here as a copycat, it can't get to this spot. It has to get through here to there, and then it would be blocked. So this is always a copycat then. Which means this digit must be in a 1 to 2 ratio with this cell. Okay, remaining digits also in row 2 are 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's not right. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess it does sort of make sense where this goes if this, like, basically we have most of the information here, right? Remaining digits in row 7. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If so this is copycat, which makes its value is 6 or 8. Which means this has to have a value of 3 or 4, and it cannot be either. So this must be copycat also, which means it goes through the whole way here. So all of this is copycat. So that means these do have to be consecutive, and these must be in a 1 to 2 ratio. Well, then, this has to be 8 and 4, and this is 3 or 5. So we have 8, 4, and this is 3 or 5. If we force this to be copycat, this would have to be 3, 6, and 7. And that could work, actually. So I think, yeah, this is the reason why we were basically saying what happens if this is not copycat. Anyway, this can't be 4, cannot be 8. It's 2, 3, or 6. This can't be 4. There's no more 8 here. So this has to be 6 and 7. So this is 6 and 7. Okay, so we still have this issue. 8, 9, which means this can't be 8 or 9 here. This 6 eliminates 6 here, so this is 4, which makes this in a 1 to 2 ratio with 2, which makes neither of these 2. This can't be 4 or 6 or 7. This is 8 and 9 as a pair, so this must be consecutive. This is 7 and 8. This can't be 6 or 7. So this is a 5, 9 pair, which eliminates 5 and 9 in the rest of the box. So this is 3. Ew. We're leading to the contradiction that I was running into. 3 cannot be either of these. So it cannot be 6 and 3 as a pair. It has to be 2 and 1. And then this must be 2 and 3. Ooh, this is not looking good. No 2, 8. No 8. No 8. No 3. These are consecutive, 3 and 4, so that's fine. No 3 here, no 3 here. This is 1, 6 as a pair. Because we have a 5, 7, 8, and 9 triplets in the row. I'm not liking this. Anyways, this cannot be 8 here or 9. This is 2, 7 as a pair, which means it can't be 7. That's 8 or 9. One of these sets are consecutive, and 1 has to be here to be in a 1 to 2 ratio, so this cannot be 1. And this must be 3 then to be consecutive, which eliminates 3 from being here. This is 1 and 3. Ugh. We're running to the same issue. This 8 eliminates 8 here, so it's 9. Which means this can't be 8 or 9, it's 7, which means this can't be 7 here. No 7s here. No 7 here. But we ran into a contradiction somewhere. No 2s, no 2, no 1, no 7, 8. I don't remember the contradiction that we ran into. Anyways, so it could do something like this. It could do something like that. That's possible. If this was copycat, this would have a value of 1, which is not going to be consecutive with any digit here, or any cell. So this cannot be copycat. That means it must go from this route. This is 5, 6, or 9. Remaining digits in column. Okay, this 5 eliminates 5 here. Remaining digits in column 8. We have 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. No 7 or 8 here. No 4 here because of 4 in the row. So we need a 2 somewhere in row 4. Can't be here because of 2's in the boxes. Can't be here because of 2's in the column. So this must be 2 here. We don't know. So if this is 2, it could be copycatted here. That works fine. So we don't have to have copycat there. So it must go through here, which means this cannot be copycat. This is a value of 3. So if this were copycat, that would not, sorry, this is digit 3. That if this is copycat, that would have a value of 3, which is not possible. So this cannot be copycat. This could just be an 8. So it doesn't have to go copycat there. We have a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruplet in row 3, so this can't be 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 2, which eliminates 2 here, so it's 7, which makes that 2. That eliminates 7 in the column. I think that should be all the 2's, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 has to be one of these 2. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so this has to be... Okay, so it cannot be 1 here. This is 7 or 9. Whereas 1 in column 8... Sorry, column 7, it has to be here, which means this cannot be 1 here, which means this is a 1. So that means this cannot be in a 1 to 2 ratio with normal digits. Therefore, the copycat must go this way. So the copycat goes there, which means none of these are copycat. So this must be a 3 here, which eliminates 3 in the rest of the column. So this is 3 over here. This could be copycat or non-copycat, we don't know. Remaining digits in column 5 are 5, 6, 7, 9. This can't be 9 because of 9 in the row. This can't be 3 or 9 because of 9 in the row. Remaining digits in row 5 are 4 through 8. No 7 here because of 7 in the column. No 4 here because of 4 in the column. No 3 here because of 3 in the row. Remaining digits in row 5. We have 4, 5, 6, and 9. Okay. Remaining digits of row 6, we have 3 cannot be either of these. So this would be 5 through 9. No 7 here because of 7 in the column. And this could be 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Where is... Well, we don't have that information. So can this be copycat? I don't think so. Well, definitely not this. So since this can't be copycat, none of these can be copycat. How did I run to the contradiction that I did? Anyways. I think this is sort of clear about how this works then. So this has to go this way. Goes to here. It could go to here. This is a value of 4, which it's already there. This has a value of 1. This we don't really have any information. The question is more, do we have to go this way? So it could do something like that. It could do something like that. Actually, it cannot. This cannot be Copycat. If this were Copycat, it would be 5 or 6 in value, which it can't be. It would have to be 6 in value, which would be in a 1-to-2 ratio with 3, which can't be here. And that can't be the value either of Copycat. So this is not Copycat. Therefore, this is a value of 4, which means it could be 4, or it could be a Copycat. We don't know. Okay. Excuse me. If this were Copycat, that means the value of this would be 8, so this would be 9. If this were not Copycat, it would have to be 4 and 5. So this can't be 6 either way. Where is the 6 then in box 6? Right, so again, if this is Copycat, it's a value of 8, which means it's consecutive with 9. If it's not Copycat, these have to be consecutive as digits, and it can only be 4 and 5 in that instance. Either way, you can't have a 6 here. So where is 6 in box 6? It has to be one of these two cells, which means this can't be 6. This is 8, which makes this 4. That makes this 3. 4 can't be here. 8 can't be in the box and in the row. So this 8 eliminates 8 here. So this is 9 and 8. Excuse me. Just coughing up a storm. Anyways, this is not 9 either spot. My throat is really dry. 8 eliminates 8 here. So this is 9. Which means none of these can be 9. I'm going to get a cough drop because the 9 eliminates 9 here, so it's 8, which makes this 9. This digit, if it's Copycat, would be a 9 in value, which is not possible to be in a 1-to-2 ratio, so this is normal, and it must be an 8. This is 7, which makes this 5. 9 eliminates 9 here, so it's 7, which eliminates 7 here, so it's 6, which makes this not 6, that's 9. 6 eliminates 6 here, so it's 7, which eliminates 7 here, so it's 9. Can't be 9, can't be 7 here. This can't be 5 or 9, it's 6. That forces this to be a 3 here. Means this can't be 3. No more 6 here. No more 9 or 8 here. No 8 or 9 here. This can't be 7 or 9. It's 8. Which eliminates 8 in the rest of the column. This 7 eliminates 7 in the rest of the column. So now we have a 4, 8, 9 triplet in box 6, which eliminates 4, 8, 9 in the rest of the box. This can't be 9. It's 7. This can't be 9. It's 5, which makes this both blue. And this has to be the Copycat. So it has to go here, then here. So this is 7, which eliminates 7 here. This 5 eliminates 5 here. So I think the issue is what happens if neither... This cannot be Copycat. Because if it were Copycat, it would have a value of 5 or 9, which has to be in a 1 to 2 ratio with something. So this cannot be Copycat. 3 is not going to have a Copycat, a value of in a 1 to 2 ratio with 2. I must have messed up earlier because this is exactly the path, the solving path that I was talking about. But this can't be Copycat either because it would have a value of 2, which is not in a 1 to 2 ratio with 3. So this is normal, which makes this 6, which makes this 5, which makes that 1. Which makes this 6, which makes that 1. That means this must go around this way. Okay. So this connects here. This is the path this way. It has to go there. And that's the path. We should be able to solve everything else then. This can't be 5. This is 6, which eliminates 6 here and 6 here. This is a 5-9 pair, which eliminates 5 and 9 in the rest of the column. So this can't be 5. It's 7. This 6 eliminates 6 here, so it's 5, which makes this 6. No 6 here, no 6 here. This can't be 5 anymore. This has to be a 4 to be consecutive, which makes this 9. 4 eliminates 4 here, so this is 8, which eliminates 8 here, so it's 4. This 9 eliminates 9 here, so it's 5, which means this can't be 5 or 9, it's 8, which means this can't be 8, that's 9. 9 eliminates 9 here, so that's 5 and 9. I don't know how I went down that path and got to a contradiction. I was suspecting because it worked so well that I was like, this sort of has to be the solve path. But I don't know, I ran into some contradiction. I guess it was a good thing that I focused on this part, which made sure that this part was... This had to go through one part here, right? It either went this way or it went this way, and it could not go through this part, so therefore you couldn't circle back this way. Is essentially the thing, right? So it was solving this part, but figuring out it could not actually be both. This could not be essentially a copycat. And then that forced this path to either go this way or this way, right? And then the easy contradiction was if we checked this path. I mean, I guess that makes sense because this was the actual... Sorry, if this basically... The contradiction was easy to find this if this was not the copycat. It had to be the path, right? Because we went down this path and it was solving everything except for... I ran into some weird contradiction here, but obviously I messed up in that situation. And I had that feeling that I messed up because... Everything was basically going so right in the way that everything had to sort of match. I just don't know how, where I made a mistake there. But we found out because this couldn't be copycat, you couldn't go around here anymore. So you did have to go down one path this way or one path this way. And if we went down this path this way, all of these would have to be non-copycat. And we found out that that doesn't work if that's the case. So, yeah, I guess that was the solve in a nutshell. Very interesting the way that these copycats are forced and the interaction between them. I would say this is a slightly easier than very hard, but definitely harder than hard. So classifying it as very hard is perfectly fine. and probably what I'll classify it as too. Because the logic behind it is pretty unintuitive also. And the execution is difficult. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.